Assange, let's talk about Julian Assange. As of right now, so we are waiting for the news any moment. But right now, he is in court. He landed in Saipan in the Mariana Islands. The court hearing began about 1 hour ago, so 4 p.m. Pacific time. What is that Eastern time? So that would be 7 p.m. Eastern is when local time for the Mariana Islands, 9 a.m. So 1 hour ago, he entered the courtroom. A couple of hours ago, he actually flew into Saipan. And I mean, look at him. There he is. Here's all this footage of him finally being quasi-free. At least he's not in handcuffs. He's not in a jumpsuit. He's amongst his attorneys. He looks happy to see the world again. Finally, after all of these years, 12 years essentially in incarceration. He spent 7 years in the Ecuadorian embassy from 2012 and 7 years. And then he ended up going into the Belmarsh prison for the last a little over 5 years. But there he is, 52 years old now. So he's, now he's older. And I mean, could you imagine? The guy went into basically incarceration at the age of 40, and now he's 52 and he's finally getting out. So we're waiting for the news any second to find out, is he walking out of the courtroom? Is the ink actually on the paper? Is it dry? So we're keeping our eyes peeled on this one. We anticipate during this show, he is going to be a free man. They've already set up his flight to Australia. That flight leaves, I believe, at what time does that flight depart? I think 10 p.m., around 10 p.m. Eastern is when around 7 p.m. My time, local time in LA, 10 p.m. Eastern, he is set to be on a flight back home to Australia. The flight has been scheduled. They are anticipating that this will happen. So we're just waiting for the word that Assange is actually a free man. I mean, just imagine he spent 1,901 days in Belmarsh in a tiny 2 by 3 meter cell. He was in isolation in that cell 23 hours a day. So they let him out for 1 hour a day. This is after 7 years in the Ecuadorian embassy. The freedom that he must just be, he's just right on the brink of this freedom. And it is just absolutely unbelievable that this is happening. I mean, this is still so shocking. He was facing 18 charges, up to 175 years in prison. Now it's dropped down to one charge. In fact, we have the court documents. Let's go ahead and pull these up. The court document, this is the United States of America versus Julian Paul Assange as the defendant. Count 1, Title 18, USC, conspiracy to obtain and disclose national defense information. It says the defendant, Julian Paul Assange, was not a United States citizen, did not possess a U.S. security clearance, and did not have authorization to possess access or control documents, writings, or notes relating to the national defense of the United States, including United States government classified information. Chelsea Manning was a United States Army intelligence analyst who held a top secret U.S. security clearance who was deployed to forward operating base Hammer in Iraq. Classified information pursuant to Executive Order 12958, signed on April 17th, 1995, as amended by the Executive Order, blah, 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 blah. Okay. National security information was classified as top secret, secret, or confidential. National security information was information owned by, produced for, and under the control of the United States government that was classified as follows. Information was classified as top secret if the unauthorized disclosure of that information reasonably could be expected to cause exceptionally grave damage to national security. Okay, so they go on and tell us what top secret, secret, and confidential is. And they're saying that information classified at any level could only be lawfully accessed by the persons determined by an appropriate United States government official to be eligible for access to classified information, who had signed and approved a non-disclosure agreement, who received a security clearance, and who had a need to know the classified information. Classified information could only be stored in an approved facility and container. This is important information because one of the problems now with this plea agreement, now many of us are extremely happy for Julian on a personal level that he's being let out of jail, that he's going to be free finally. This is where the implications are for journalism, okay? So they're saying now classified information is meant for people who are allowed to access classified information. Okay, so let's keep reading and see if they try to criminalize just having access to classified information. Right. It is their responsibility if they have classified information that they only want those who have that particular security clearance. It is incumbent upon them to ensure that only people with security clearance see it. Imagine if they leave top secret documents at a restaurant, in a bar, and any Joe Schmo takes a look at that. Are they trying to criminalize anyone who doesn't have clearance from reading these? So is it a crime to see top secret on a folder, open it and read it out of curiosity? Is that a crime? Is it a crime if somebody from the government who has access gives you that folder? So maybe you didn't find it in a bar, you're not Joe Schmo, but somebody instead gives you that folder and you open it up and read it. Is that a crime? Is it then a crime to read the information in the folder, find out that, wow, this is pretty damning stuff, and then show other people those documents? Now, in the case of Julian Assange, in the case of the Washington Post, in the case of the New York Times, right, they have published these confidential documents for not just, they showed these documents to a lot of people. Does it matter how many people? That's another question. Does it matter if you take those top secret documents that you discovered or you were given and you show that to one person, two people, your book club? Or what if you publish it and you're a publisher and you show it to millions of people? That shouldn't matter, right? And the government might be attempting, well, it's not that they're attempting to make that a crime. They're attempting to say, if you don't have the top clearance security, then you cannot read these documents. And not only can you not read these documents, I don't know if they can really punish you for you yourself reading them, but they're saying you can't show them to anybody else. Now, they don't differentiate whether you show them to one person or a million people, and that shouldn't matter because you could be a small publication that very few people read, or you could be a massive publication that everybody reads, right? So this is what they're trying to criminalize. So let's keep reading, because at this point, that's all they've established in these documents. They're saying this is classified information. Information classified at any level could only be lawfully accessed by persons determined by an appropriate United States government official to be eligible for access to classified information, who had signed an approved non-disclosure agreement, who received a security clearance, and who had a need to know the classified information. Classified information could only be stored in an approved facility and container. Now, what's important about this clause right there is they're saying information classified at any level could only be lawfully accessed by persons. Now, the key word is accessed. What does that mean? So are you saying that only people with top security clearance can go into wherever the files are stored, in the computer or in the SCIF or in the safe house that you store this type of stuff? They're the only ones allowed to legally go in those rooms and actually read the documents. Is that what you mean by access? Like, access is kind of a broad term, right? And they keep it vague for a reason, because, well, are you accessing it if you just are given a thumb drive from somebody who had the clearance and they got it, and then now you've got it and you're accessing it off the thumb drive? Is that what that means? So that we need clarity on that. That matters. So they're saying the one count that they're getting him on, that they're going to do this plea agreement, is they say this is the conspiracy to obtain and disclose. Disclose. Wow, they actually wrote that in there. Conspiracy to obtain and disclose national defense information. Paragraphs 1. So obtaining and disclosing. What does that mean? Now, that doesn't mean you're breaking into the facility. That doesn't mean that you're hacking into the facility some way, right? If you're obtaining them somehow, you could be getting them from a source who had access. So you're obtaining the files and then you're disclosing those. How is that a crime? Why? Well, it's obviously a crime. They're charging him with it. Why is it a crime? Why are we Americans not more outraged by this? It's too vague. If they want to say conspiracy to hack into our machines or break into our facilities, though, there's already laws for that. Breaking and entering, theft, right? There's already those types of laws. If they want to slap some sort of but you were getting something extra sensitive, if they want to kind of put some sort of, something that heightens the crime, okay. But they've made up brand new crimes. I mean, that's the problem with the Espionage Act. They've made up brand new crimes so that they could go after you and me. They could go after people that the Espionage Act, historically, half of the people who have been charged with the Espionage Act have been journalists or radio talkers or people in the news. Right? That's who they went after. That's why they're going after. That's who they created it. They weren't supposed to create it for that group, but that's who they're using it on. Paragraphs 1 through 4 of this information are incorporated by reference and are realleged as if set forth fully herein. From at least 2009 and continuing through at least 2011 in an offense begun and committed outside of the jurisdiction of any particular state or district of the United States, the defendant, Julian Paul Assange, who will be first brought to the District of the Northern Mariana Islands, knowingly and unlawfully conspired with Chelsea Manning to commit the following offenses against the United States. So what does that mean? So if you're a journalist and you've got somebody with top security clearance coming to you and saying, I got some information and it's not good. And you say, okay. And they ask, are you interested in this information? Would you be willing to publish it? And you say, yes. I mean, where do they, at what point does the conversation become conspiracy? So are you saying, if you say to them, yes, I'll take the documents and I'll publish them, how can I verify they're real documents? So is it suddenly a conspiracy the minute you say, can you get me more? Does that make it, can you give me more? Does that suddenly turn it into the conspiracy and now you could be charged with the Espionage Act? Yeah. So they're claiming that he unlawfully conspired with Chelsea Manning to commit the following offenses against the United States. A, to receive and obtain documents, writings, and notes connected with the national defense, including such materials classified up to the secret level for the purpose of obtaining information respecting the national defense and knowing and with reason to believe at the time such materials were received and obtained, they had been and would be taken, obtained, and disposed of by a person contrary to the provisions of Chapter 37 of Title 18 of the United States Code in violation of Title 18 United States Code. Yes, so you knew the person was breaking the law is what they're saying. You knew that this person was obtaining these records illegally, and so you obtained these documents knowing that these materials were obtained illegally. Okay. B, to willfully communicate documents relating to the national defense, including documents classified up to the secret level from persons having lawful possession or of or access to such documents to persons not entitled to receive them in violation of Title 18. So to willfully communicate documents relating to the national defense, what does that mean? Publishing. That's how I'm interpreting it. C, to willfully communicate documents relating to the national defense from persons in unauthorized possession of such documents to persons not entitled to receive them. So you are willfully communicating documents from person. So Chelsea Manning had some of the documents that Chelsea Manning had, Chelsea legally had. Some of the documents apparently not legally. And what they're saying Julian Assange did was take the documents from this person, some of the documents legally, some of them illegally, and then communicating those documents to persons not entitled to receive them. That's you and me. We're not entitled to receive them. So they're saying that you publish these documents and that's the crime. Unbelievable. 7, in furtherance of the conspiracy and to accomplish its objects, Assange and Manning committed lawful and unlawful overt acts. And that's that. That's the charge, the count 1. But this is a serious one charge. I mean, all 18 were bad, but this one is criminalizing the procurement of documents from somebody who either obtained them legally or illegally, and then you disseminate those documents to people like you and me who are not allowed to see them. They've criminalized that. I think every news outlet, if we're not seeing outrage over the next day or two from every single major publication over these charges, and the fact that he's going to have the precedent will be set for a guilty on this, then you'll know that the mainstream media is completely gone just totally and completely far gone. I mean, we already know that they're pretty gone, but this will really be the nail in the coffin that they're really gone. This means no news organization will ever be able to publish any sort of classified documents that they have obtained from somebody ever. I mean, that just criminalized it completely, 100%. So, uh, pretty bad, pretty bad. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this clip from the full Kim Iverson show. That's right, this is just a clip. If you want the full show, you can go to KimIversonShow.com and you can watch Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern for about 1 hour. It's totally free. Check it out, KimIversonShow.com. Thanks for watching.